Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here tonight. It's a great pleasure to be anywhere tonight, isn't it? Just to get out of the house. We have had a visit this week from she who must be obeyed. The wife's mother. What a woman. And she's a big woman, I'll tell you. She's a very, very big woman. If she was here tonight, no matter where she'd sit down, she'd be beside you. Her mouth is so big she can whisper in her own ear. Every time she smiles, she leaves lipstick on her ears. I've done everything for this woman. I went out one Christmas, and I bought her a beautiful chair. She wouldn't plug it in. Recently, I bought her a piece of property. I mean, that's a nice gift for a mother-in-law, isn't it? I got her a lovely piece of property. Not a very big piece now, just about 6 foot square. With a Celtic cross attached to it. I just done it for the fun of it. But she was complaining like a divil. Complained the whole time. Didn't speak to me all through the New Year. All through Easter, St. Patrick's Day, the summer holidays, everything went by. Not a whisper from her. So the following Christmas came and I bought her nothing. She came up on Stephen's Day and she says, "You never bought me anything this year." I said, "You didn't use the present I bought you last year, look." And she's threatened me too. She's threatened, she says, "I'll haunt you. I will haunt you, you big fat idiot, you. I'll haunt you for the rest of your natural life. If ever you live that long." I says, "How can you haunt me?" I says, "You'll be dead and buried." She says, "I'll be back. I'll come back from the grave. I'll scratch all the clay off myself. And I'll be back." So I'm going to bury her face down. And she can scratch as much as she wants to. This is a fabulous woman. We bring her everywhere with us. It's much better than kissing her goodbye. It's the lips, you see. She's two beautiful lips, but they're both on top. We took her down to Killarney one time from Dublin. You can imagine the drive down from Dublin to Killarney. And she nagged the whole way down in the car. Nag, 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 nag. She was still nagging when I was taking her down off the roof rack on the car. We went into the hotel and were signing our name on the hotel register, and 2 fleas hopped across the page. 2 hoppers hopped across the page. She says, "It's bad enough having fleas in the hotel, but when they come down to see what room you're staying in." So we're only there about 10 minutes and she starts complaining, "I won't stay in this room. Gee, you couldn't swing a cat in it. There's no toilet, there's no bed, there isn't even a window." I said, "Shut up, you're in the lift." In many ways, we are happy with mothers-in-law. I was particularly happy with my mother-in-law, and as I said, I've done everything for her. She said to me one time, she says, "Would you kiss me under a mistletoe?" I says, "I wouldn't kiss you under an anaesthetic." Have you seen her? Well, she's a happy woman. We were on our way home from Killarney, and we're coming up through the country. We're coming up through County Tipperary, and there was a very large funeral we came across, and we couldn't get through the town. It was a big funeral. There was 3,000 people at the funeral. I just had a quick look, and I said, "There's 3,000 people there." And I noticed that they were all fellas. They were all men at this funeral. I was fascinated when I saw all these men well-dressed, and the smell of aftershave, while they all walking along behind the hearse. 3,000 men. So I parked the car and I walked along beside one of the men and I said, "Who's dead?" He said, "The person above in the coffin, as far as I know." So I said, this fella is a smarter Alec. So I moved up through the crowd. I mean, it's not easy to get up through 3,000 men at a funeral. And I found myself walking right behind the hearse with the chief mourner. And he's walking along, and he has an Irish wolfhound on a chain. He's walking behind the hearse, and it was terrifying. The froth was dripping out of the mouth, and the bloodshot eyes. The dog was just as bad. So I says to him, I said, I'm terribly sorry for your trouble. I was walking along like this, you see. I said, I'm sorry for your troubles. I said, who's dead? He said, the wife's mother is inside in that coffin. Up you by you! He drew out and he kicked the back of the hearse. The bumper fell off. The dog went... Rawr. I said, I'm terribly sorry about this. I said, your mother-in-law? Yes, he said, she's in that box. Oh. I said, what happened to her? He said, this dog here bit her leg. It bit her leg and she was dead in 5 seconds. I said, would there be any chance that I could borrow that dog off you for the weekend? And he says, you can, but you'll have to get down to the end of the queue. I always talk about the Americans, of course, Canadians, Australians, people who visit Ireland. We get a lot of people, of course, from all over Europe, but Americans in particular, they love Ireland. They love looking for leprechauns and all that sort of thing. You can imagine this fella from Detroit, Michigan, and it's his first time in Ireland. He's never been to Ireland before, and he arrives on flight EI 104, and he steps down from the Aer Lingus Jumbo, and as he walks down the steps, he sees this fella standing beside a very, very long table with a white tablecloth, and there's all skulls on the table, all skulls and bones on the table. And the fella's standing there with the plaid jacket, you see, and the old cap and the pipe. And the American comes over and says, how you doing there? Very happy to be here in Ireland. What are you doing, sir?
He says, I'm living here.
Yes, sir. He said, but what are you doing right now?
I'm standing looking at you.
But he said, what's this display?
He says, I'm selling skulls.
You're selling what, sir?
He says, I'm selling skulls.
You're selling schools?
No, skulls, you idiot. Skulls. Skull. Head with no skin, skull.
Oh, you're selling skulls. Oh, yes. What sort of skulls do you have?
Well, I have the skulls here of famous Irishmen. I have the skull now, for instance, of Brian Boru. I have the skull of Finn McCool. I have the skull of St. Brendan the Navigator. I have the skull of St. Patrick. I have the skull of Cuchulainn. He says, hold on, sir. Are you telling me you've got St. Patrick's skull here? Yes, that's St. Patrick's skull there. That's the great St. Patrick, patron saint of Ireland.
He says, you got to be kidding me. How do I know that's St. Patrick?
The ask it.
Your man was a ventriloquist as well, you see. Well, he said, I guess I'd like to buy that skull from you, sir. He said, how much are you going to charge?
Well, he says, you can make me an offer.
He says, how about $25?
Go again.
Okay, so how about $20?
He says, that's enough.
He said, how much is that in Irish money?
This is about £75. They got the money.
He got the money, and the American took the skull in a Dunstore's bag, and he headed off. Back to the United States. Now, he put the skull of St. Patrick on display in his pub restaurant. And people came from everywhere around America to Detroit, Michigan, to see the skull of St. Patrick. And he made $5 million over 5 years from people looking at this skull. He came back to Ireland. He decided he'd come back here, and he arrived once again on flight EI 104, and he came down the steps. And as he came down the steps, he saw the same man standing beside a table with skulls. And he says, how you doing there? Very happy to be here in the Emerald Isle. Yes, sir. He said, what are you doing today?
He says, I'm living here.
But what are you doing?
He says, I'm selling skulls.
So what skulls do you have today, sir?
Well, today I have the skulls here of famous Irishmen. I have the skull here of Brian Boru. I have the skull of Cuchulainn. I have the skull of St. Brendan the Navigator. I have the skull of St. Patrick. I have the skull of Finn McCool.
He says, hold on, sir. Are you telling me you've got the skull of St. Patrick?
Yes, he said, that's the skull there of the great St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland.
He says, you got to be kidding me, guy. He said, I was here 5 years ago, and you sold me a skull a little bigger than this. You said it was St. Patrick.
Actually, I remember you now. Well, this is St. Patrick when he was a boy.
I'd like to sing a very beautiful song. A love song, an Irish love song, perhaps one of the very best known songs. I'll Take You Home Again, Kathleen. I'll take you home again, Kathleen, across the ocean wild and wide, to where your heart has ever been, since first you were my bonny bride. The roses all have left your cheeks. I've watched them fade away and die. Your voice is sad whene'er you speak, and tears bedim your loving eyes. But I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain. And when the fields are fresh and green, I will take you to your home again. I know you love me, Kathleen dear. Your thoughts were ever fond and true. I always know when you are near that life holds nothing dear but you. The smiles that once you gave to me, I scarcely ever see them now. Though many, many times I see a darkened shadow on your brow, but I will take you back, Kathleen, to where your heart will feel no pain. And when the fields of fresh and green. I will take you to your home, Kathleen. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. A lady went into the photographer's, and she has a photograph of her late husband in her hand, and she tries to explain to the photographer that she's not happy with the photo. And she's saying, I'm wondering if there's any chance you might be able to help me. Well, he says we'll do the best we can. Whatever you want us to do, we'll try it.
Well, yes, she says, well, I have a photograph here of himself. Now, this is the only photo I have of him since he died. Now, I'm wondering if you could enlarge it.
Obviously, there's no problem there. We could... enlargement, there's no problem. We'll have it for you tomorrow.
Well, now, she says there's a few little things on the photo. Now, it's a black and white photo. And I'm wondering if there's any way you could colour it for us.
Well, he says, modern technology, no problem. We'll be able to colour that in, and we'll brighten it up. Yeah, no problem. It'll take about 3 or 4 days.
Thanks. Now, she says there's a few other things on it. I'm sorry for going on about it. But, she says, as you can see, this was taken at a fair. And he has his arm, as you can see in the photo, he has his arm around a bullock. You know, a bull.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you could remove the bullock from the photo.
He says it might be a bit difficult, but we can always just cut it. Well, no, it looked like your husband only had one arm. No, that wouldn't look right. You could get the artist maybe to obliterate the bullock. Well, he says your husband will be left with his arm out like that now, and that won't look very well.
Well, she says you might be able to, maybe you could stick in a motorbike or something. So he has his arm around a motorbike or that.
Yeah, good idea, Steve. Okay, he says, let me see now, hold on for a second. You want the photograph enlarged, and you want it black and white to colour. And you want us to remove the bullock and put in a motorbike.
Yes, says, that's great. Now, she says one or two things as well. Sorry for bothering you. But she says, do you see them old Wellingtons that he's wearing? them old boots that he has on. I never liked them boots. And they were odd, like there were 2 left boots. And the string was still on them. He used to walk like that. Now, if you could remove the boots out of the photograph.
Well, he says, let me see now, hold on for a second. It'll be difficult now to remove the boots. So what we'll do is, I'll get the artist to paint in a little hedgerow. Nice little hedging up to his knees.
Very good. She says, that's great. Oh, that'll look, man. Ah, no, she should you. That'll grow after a few years. No, you wouldn't see him at all then. No. So could you get the artist to paint in maybe a little wall? Like he's standing behind the wall.
Very good, he says, that's it. Okay, let's recap here now. You want the photograph enlarged, you want it from black and white to colour, and you want the bullock taken out and the motorbike put in, and you want the boots obliterated by a wall in the front.
Yes, she says, that's great.
Oh, well, he says it'll take a few weeks.
No, she says, sorry for bothering you, but I've something else. She says, do you see that old cap that he's wearing in it? She says, I hated that cap. He was always hitting the cows with that cap, and, you know, it's kind of full of cow stuff that, you know, the cow stuff that is beyond. Could you remove the cap off him?
Well, he said, that'll be difficult, but we can do it. Okay, let's recap. Recap. That's enlarge the photograph, black and white the colour, remove the bullock, put in a motorbike, a wall in front of his knees.
and take off his cap. That'll take about 3 months. It'll cost you about 50 quid. She says, that's all right. I'm very, very grateful. And she's just walking out, and he says, by the way, he says, just for the artist, what side did your husband part his hair? He says, won't you see that when you take off his cap? One of the great Irish songs is a song of romance and youth on the banks of my own lovely Lee. Oh, how oft do my thoughts in their fancy take flight to the home of my childhood away, to the days when each patriot's vision seemed bright, ere I dreamed that those joys would decay, where my heart was as light as the wild wind that blows down the Mardyke through each elm tree, where I sported and played beneath each green leafy shade on the banks of my own lovely Lee, where we sported and played beneath each green leafy shade on the banks of my own lovely Lee. And then in the springtime of laughter and song, would I ever forget the sweet hours with the friends of my youth as we'd ramble along amongst the green mossy banks and wild flowers? Then too, when the even sun sinking to rest sheds its golden light over the sea, the maid with her lover, the wild daisies pressed on the banks of my own lovely Lee, the maid with her lover, the wild daisies pressed on the banks of my own lovely Lee. Thank you very much. We love our mammies, don't we? Yes. Don't we love our mammies? Yes. Who do we love? Our mammies. Mammies are special and wonderful people. I'll bet that there's lots of mammies here tonight. And I bet there's lots and lots of mammies who feel, well, it was mammy who taught you love, kindness, happiness. Am I right or wrong? It was our mammies who introduced us to love. But there's another aspect of motherhood which I would like to bring to your attention tonight. And it's called brutality. Now, everybody today blames the television for violence. Everybody says it's violence at the television. Once you turn it on, there's violence at football matches and all. Violence, violence.
The violence began with your mum. It was your mammy who introduced you to violence. Now, there's a lot of mammies won't agree with this. But who else could look at a child and say,
I'll kill you.
now, you can't get any more violent than that. Threatening to kill someone. Now, my television never threatened to kill me. Ever. How many times did your mother say, I'll break your neck? My television never threatened to break my neck. My television never followed me up 3 flights of stairs with the leg of an armchair and got me in the corner and said, where's the apple tart I made last night? Did you ever notice? Mammy always hit you while she spoke. And why did your mammy hit you? Because she loved you. And the more she loved you, the more she hit you. If you think about it, every syllable that your mother spoke was a thump. Where's the apple tart I made last night? If it was a strawberry shortcake, you'd have a fractured skull. And you'd say, I don't answer me back. Don't you ever answer your mother. Now I'll ask it again. She'd ask you a question, you'd answer it, she'd hit you. So this time you'd say nothing. She'd say, answer me. When you think about it, you wonder how a child could cope with the things a mother would say. When you reach the age of 7, the threats from the mother. Don't you ever pick your nose again. I'll cut the hands off you. Can you imagine a child trying to figure out, you're going to cut me hands off? You'd go home and hide every knife that ever lived in the house. Or things like, I brought you into this world, I'll take you out of it if you're not here by 8 o'clock. You see, every mother in the world, and particularly an Irish mother, every mother was a ventriloquist. That's true. Every mother, your mother, was a ventriloquist. She could speak to you without moving her lips. Do you remember? Sit down there. Sit down there now. Don't you... Hello, Mrs. Corrigan, how are you? Lovely morning indeed. Sit down there now. Hello, Father Breen. Lovely mass. A long mass indeed. We won't feel the winter with masses like that. Sit down there now. Don't ever fart at mass again. One of the great things about Irish mothers, and I think it's widely known, is that now and again she would suffer from amnesia. She would suffer from a loss of memory. She would forget who her child was. Now, can you imagine a mother forgetting who this child that she brought into the world? Who do you think you are? My ma doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know me at all. No,
Following day, she'd forget who she was herself. That's true. My mother, God be with her, I often think about, she actually used to forget who she was. Do you know who you're talking to? That's why mothers, and of course, that's why I say about mothers, because they have, again, they have a great sense of humour. That's why a lot of people, in Ireland today, we don't get much confusion. There's no such thing as confusion, because we were trained when we were kids. We were confused when we were kids. So nothing confuses us now. Because our mothers would always ask us to do things that couldn't possibly be done. Always contradiction. Come over here and don't move. Shut your mouth and eat your dinner. If you fall off that wall and break both of your legs, don't come running to me. You three are a nice pair. You've never come home last night till this morning. And you would have woke everyone up, only they were asleep. Now, if you're going to stay here, you'd better get out. Do you remember the great one that your mother would say? 8:30 in the morning. Look at the dirt behind your ears. Look at it. Look at it. I'm not letting fathers away with it, by the way. Fathers are not getting away because fathers were the same. I think fathers underestimated children. You know, your father could come home from work and he finds the handle of his mug broke. Where is he? And every child in Ireland had the same first name when we were kids. Hugh. Hugh. Your father would say, Hugh. And you could hear your father coming up the street. 4.5 on the Richter scale. And every father's voice sounded the same. 20 kids playing together. Hugh. Everybody looking around, hoping they wouldn't identify the face. And the father would say, come over here till I knock your head off. What I'm trying to figure out is, did a father actually believe that a child would volunteer to come over and have his head knocked off? I mean, have you ever seen a child say, me dad is going to knock me head off? But dancing in the 60s was romantic. Now, in the dance halls, there was no such thing as drink. There was no such thing as drink. You had to bring your own drink with you. In you. You had to be full on arrival. And a tradition in Dublin was that Dublin mothers always gave their sons onion sandwiches before they would travel to a dance. Now, there was a reason for this. It was to make sure that the son came home that night. Well, nobody would let you bring them home with the smell of onions off. So, your mother would make you about 6 onion sandwiches with raw onions, big thick cuts of bread, with raw onions, brown sauce, pepper and salt. And you'd eat 6 onion sandwiches, and you'd head off to the dance, and you'd go in and you'd have about 12 or 14 pints of Guinness on the way to the dance. Now, can you imagine the combustion?
in the dance halls in the 60s. You remember that? If we could have harnessed that power, there'd be no need for Kinsale gas today. No need. The combustion in the dance halls, I actually saw fellas walking across the dance floor out of control. Building up speed as they'd walk across. The Concorde had nothing on it. It wasn't very funny if you were trying to chat up a girl. Especially if she was behind you. If she was in front of you, it was different. She'd think you fancied her.
Oh, Mary, he can't wait to get his hands on me. Look at him jumping at me.
And then you'd see the girl of your dreams. Redhead. No hair, just a redhead. You'd look into her eyes and you'd say the magic words. Are you dancing? Oh my goodness. Oh. I was just asking you a civilized question. I said, are you dancing?
What do you think I'm doing? I'm holding down a loose floorboard, am I? You dirty-looking idiot. But I'm fussy who I dance with.
Well, I'm not. That's why I asked you. At an Irish wedding, there are speeches. I'm sure you're all familiar with the speeches that are made. First of all, you have the best man. Now, the best man can be macho, and he can be not so macho. He can be good-humoured, he can be dry, or he can be just himself.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. 1, 2. Testing, 1, 2. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 1, 2. Mrs., get down off the cake. Get down. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's a great pleasure, of course, to be here today as the best man at this glorious wedding here today. Of course, the wedding of Kathleen and Cecil. And of course, we're all very grateful to be here today on this great occasion, and I'd like to thank you all for coming along today, indeed, at such short notice. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the reason why the wedding, of course, was brought forward today. And, of course, the bride and groom weren't too pleased with some of the things that they've heard about people today saying things out in the and said, of course, 1, 2, test it. They said that and someone said, people today said that the bride also. Testing 1, 2. And this is not true at all. No way is it true. It's just the way she was walking. And we're grateful that you all came along today from near and far, and in some cases even further. But we thank you all for being with us. We'll all miss the bride and groom when they leave the neighbourhood, Kathleen and Cecil, and Kathleen, of course, she'll be particularly missed when she leaves, of course, because she was always a popular sort of a girl, really. And I suppose an obliging sort of a girl, really. And never let you down, really. Sky was the limit, really. Was we'll all be sorry to see the back of her, but that's what, so to speak. But sure, what can I say? It's a great honour, of course, and honour is the reason we're here, really. Think about it. Honour. Well, she offered her honour, and he honoured her offer. And that's the way it was. Honour and offer. But, it gives me great pleasure now to introduce the man who joined them today in holy wedlock. So will you please give a big welcome to Father Michael McGillicuddy.
Today was all sickness here And that is why we are gathered today on this suspicious occasion to welcome these two young people here and to be joined them in holy padlock here today. Blessed is he who gets married in the nick of time. And blessed is she for remembering who he was. And so it is. And now, dear brethren, I ask you to give a big welcome to the man who paid for the wedding breakfast here today, the man who is well known to both sides of the family. Will you welcome, please, the father of the bride? No, me. Reverend ladies, gentle father, and man. I'd like... I'd like to welcome you all to the wedding reception on behalf of the bride and groom who got married today. You know what I mean? Today, I am happy that my daughter is, you know what I mean, getting married. I remember when she first came to me, and she said that she wanted to get married. I said, is it someone you know? It turned out to be someone we all know. So he came around to my house, you know what I mean? And he says, I'd like to marry your daughter. I said, have you seen her mother? And he said, I have, but I'd sooner marry your daughter. Which he did. Now, I'd like to thank everybody today who bought a gift. Everybody except for two who didn't bother their bother. Who didn't bother to buy anything. Now, I'm not going to mention their names, but they are the two that got no dinner here today. And they weren't on our side of the family either. Now, today, I would like to just remind you of the wedding gifts that have been received. There were 25 ironing boards, 17 lampshades, all useless, and an electric toaster that only works in America. As I discovered when I plugged it in, and the woman upstairs got the toast out of it. They also got a statue of the Child of Prague with the head missing off of it. And some smarter Alec, some comedian here bought them a pram. A baby carriage. And had it delivered to the church. Marked urgent. If I find out who he was, I'd like to help him to laugh it off in the intensive care unit in the county hospital. Now, this wedding today is costing me a fortune, and I would like to call upon the chef to come out and face us. Today was the first time I saw roast beef glowing in the dark and Brussels sprouts in their jackets. I thought the chef made a ball to the cabbage. You know what I mean? Now, they're lively matches anyway. And, well, that's a good match. I'll keep that.
I would like to single out the man who is now my son-in-law. We're related now through drink. My daughter could have married a man with intelligence. She could have married a man with money. You listen to me down there. She could have married a man who was working. She could have married a man that wasn't working but was willing to work. She could have married a man. She could have married a man. But look, hang on. Now, Louis. There's someone posh here saying Rosh. Louis. We were very, 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 very poor. Oh, we were poorer than that. We were so poor, we thought knives and forks was jewellery. But even though we were poor, we were happy. I was as happy as a pig in spite of the fact that we were poor. See, our street was very rough. Our street was so rough that the dogs used to go around in groups. And if you saw a cat with a tail, you'd say, that's a tourist. I was a happy child, though. I was very, very happy. I was born when I was very young. I was a surprise. My ma just hiccuped and there I was. And she kept saying, that's not my child. That's not my child. Put that child back. Give me two smaller ones. The eternity ward was full where I was born. And I never forget the time my mammy brought me home. See, I was an ugly little babby. Oh, I was an ugly child. Nobody loved me. My daddy used to give me all his old razor blades to play with. I learned how to swim when I was only 7 months old. I'll never forget that night. Up in the canal. My daddy just threw me in the water. I panicked. I thought I'd never get out of the pillowcase. But I did. And I'll always remember there was a member of the Garda Síochána of Polis. And this policeman was passing by, and didn't he jump into the water? And didn't he bring me home on the carrier of his bike? And my mammy took me in, and I was really wet. It took them nearly 5 hours to get me completely dry. I was terrified in the oven for that long. Even in school, I was a very unhappy child because the teacher used to call me names. He used to say, listen, stupid. He always called me listen. I remember making me confirmation. That was a very special day. I made me confirmation. And I had no clothes. My mammy could only buy me a cap. And she made me look out the window all day. And then the following year, she saved up and she bought me lovely clothes. And I got me first pair of shoes. Clark's. Jimmy Clark, he lived next door to us. And I went to put them
them on. There was only one lace. And I looked on the label on the shoe, it said Taiwan. I made me confirmation, and my daddy brought me into the pub. And he shook me out on the counter. I'll never forget that. And I remember him saying to the barman, he said, there was a pint of stout and a club orange. And I said to him, I said, are you not having a drink yourself? You should have seen him hitting me in the back of the head with a stout. See, we were in a mixed school and there was a girl down the back. Betty Lynham. What are you rummaging about?
I'm after having an accident.
You had what?
I'm after having an accident.
What sort of an accident? Louder.
I'm after wetting me knickers.
You did what?
I'm after wetting me knickers.
Underwear.
Under there.